Hi, everybody. Elida Zweidler-McKay with Engaging Leadership, where we're all about helping you engage with the people on your team so that you can be a great leader, and also engage with the people in your organization so that you can move up and get ahead, or in your network so you can find a job somewhere else. Whatever the situation is, we're all about helping you become the best leader you can be. So one of the things that I've noticed in the conversations I've been having with people lately is how many of them are losing sleep over their careers. And it's really been heartbreaking to kind of listen to those stories and hear people who are worried, whether they're in a job that feels like it isn't a good fit for them, or they've gotten a promotion and they feel like they're in over their heads and they don't quite know what to do, or they're in between jobs and they're not sure about what they're going to find next. I think so many people are worried about the economy, they're worried about their roles, they're worried about politics in their organizations, and all of that has them lying awake wondering if it's going to be possible to even move ahead in the kinds of ways that they want to move ahead in their career. And something happened the other day that sort of brought all this to mind for me. We have this little dog who's a rescue that found us a few years ago, and he is such a sweetheart. But I'll tell you, every single time it rains, and you can hear him coughing in the background. Poor baby. Every time it rains, like we had a thunderstorm the other day, he just freaks out. Like he goes and hides in the corner, hides in the closet. It was supper time the other day when this was happening, and I couldn't even get him to come out for the food that he loves. And he, as a rescue, really loves his meals, but he just was going to have no part of it. And it really had me thinking about how all of us have these conditioned fear responses that can keep us from going for what we want. So like in Dingo's case, I know he spent some time living his life outdoors, and at that time, thunderstorms must have been really scary for him. So it makes sense that he has this pattern of being afraid during thunderstorms. But what he's not recognizing, what his little doggy brain can't pick up, is that he's not in that situation anymore. He's safe and dry and warm in a house full of people who love him and will take care of him. And so it just got me thinking about all of those psychological habits and patterns that we pick up over the years from different experiences, and how those can sometimes hold us back. So in terms of losing sleep, some of the things that I hear from people are those habitual fear patterns around getting in a new job or changing jobs is too risky. Things are too scary in the economy right now. What if I take another job and then I'm the last one in, so I get laid off? Or what if I can't find another job? Like, what if I spend all this time looking and I can't even make something happen? Or I think the more insidious one is, what if I get that next role, that next step up, that next promotion, and I can't really do it, or I'm not really worthy of it, right? People don't say that very much, but I do think that's one of the fears that happens kind of underneath the surface. So I wanted to tie this back to something that Amy Edmondson has been talking about, and you've heard me mention her before if you've listened to my other recordings. Amy Edmondson does research on teams, and one of the things that she says is really important in teams is that there be a sense of psychological safety. And psychological safety she defines as a belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. I think one of the things that's at the heart of the worry that keeps people up at night is that there's kind of a lack of internal psychological safety. In other words, Dr. Edmondson writes about psychological safety at the level of a team. But if we think in terms of human systems, what happens at a team level can also happen at an individual level. And so I think at an individual level, there's a degree to which people are not creating psychological safety for themselves. And then that's getting in the way of their ability to be able to move forward. So if you think about early career and school experiences, especially, people who have gotten promoted and are kind of moving their way up on a corporate ladder have usually done pretty well in school, and they've usually done pretty well early on in their careers. What they've learned over those years is how to deliver, how to meet expectations, how to do what they're told, how to show up and not make mistakes, give the right answers. And to get to that place where you're not making mistakes, you're giving the right answers, you're turning in what the teacher wants, for some people can result in a relatively punishing and fearful internal dialogue where you're on the lookout for taking risks. You know, you have to do what is assigned, you have to meet the expectations, you have to check the boxes. What that does is it creates a climate where it's not okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to color outside the lines. It's not okay to think outside the box. And the problem is that at some point in your career, thinking that way, sticking to the safe path, sticking to just what's accepted, doesn't work anymore. In order to get to that next level in your career, you have to be able to take some risks. You have to be willing to risk making a mistake or speaking up and getting something wrong, putting yourself out there in a way that might, feel like you're exposing yourself a little bit. You have to be a little bit vulnerable. You have to really leave the closet despite the thunderstorm in order to go for what you want. And so that's why in my coaching with people, one of the first things we work on and we work on throughout our work together is really building that internal psychological safety. We work on noticing and shifting your internal dialogue so that you can create a climate that's friendly to experimentation, friendly to risk taking, and dare I say it, even friendly to making mistakes, because that really is what it takes to get to that next level. Now, the bonus is that when you can create that kind of climate for yourself, that internal psychological safety, it also makes it easier for you to lead other people in a way that you're creating that kind of psychological safety for them too. In fact, one of my clients the other day said, I'm finding that as I'm kinder to myself, it's easier to be that way with other people as well. And that is so true. We can't give away to others what we can't create for ourselves. And that's why building that strong sense of psychological safety, that climate where it's okay to take risks and make mistakes internally is so important, because if you can't do that for yourself, it's even harder to do that for other people. And if you've got a team where it's not okay to take risks and it's not okay to speak up and it's not okay to make mistakes, you've got a team whose growth and innovation and development is going to be really stunted. So that's what I think is at the heart of what's keeping people up at night. I think it's that they're living in an internal climate full of language patterns and behavior patterns and thought patterns that have worked at one point in their lives, kept them safe and sound and dry earlier, but now are no longer necessary and are getting in the way of their development. If this is at all intriguing to you, if you feel like you're in a place where you've gotten stuck from some internal patterns, or you're not getting ahead in the way that you want, or certainly if you're laying awake at night worrying about what's going to happen next or how to get to move forward in your career, let's talk about it. We'll get on the phone for about 45 minutes and talk about where you are now, what has you feeling stuck, what some of those fears might be, and then we'll look at where you want to go. And if I can help you get from here to there, we'll talk about what that could look like. Or if I'm not the right resource for you and what you need, I'll let you know that, and we'll point you to other resources if I can. Either way, I promise you're going to walk away with some real clarity about what it's going to take to get unstuck and on that path toward your next step, whatever that's going to look like. So book a call with me at zmcoach.net/call, and I look forward to talking to you. Take care.